one of the hosts of the Tomahawk Show with Andrew Hawkins on LeBron's Uninterrupted platform. He is Joe Thomas. How are you, Joe?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on, Rich.
What'd you think of that tie yesterday, Joe?
Oh, well, let me tell you what, it was pretty exciting. I don't know how I felt after the game. I think I'm supposed to feel like there was a moral victory that the Browns finally didn't lose their opening game, but it felt like it was the game that they should have won. You know, the Steelers put it on a platter for them. They had the opportunity to kick a short field goal at the end of the game to win finally, and they didn't get it done.
So what do you think the answer is, Joe? Just continue on with whatever plan they have laid out here? Just keep going on with it, with their head coach? What do you think the plan should be here?
Well, I think they've clearly made a lot of improvement from where they were last season. So I'm not ready to just throw out the plan because they tied the Steelers in the opening game. But obviously, I think they need to make some big improvements. Clearly, offensively, they didn't do enough to win. And defensively, they looked really good. Early on, the run game was not the run defense was not great, but they fixed that. And overall, the defense getting all those turnovers was outstanding. Offensively, I'm hoping that just because this was the first game in Todd Haley's offense, they're going to make some huge improvement next game and be able to go out, run the ball more effectively, throw for some more yards, and score some more points.
Well, the line, without you there, they put Desmond Harrison, who's been waiting a long time and had quite the journey to the National Football League, in your spot. What did you think of the replacement for you?
I thought he had a nice game. He obviously made some mistakes early on with a couple false starts, and there was a couple times in the game where you notice he went the wrong way. He had mental assignment errors. But overall, you can see why he is being so highly regarded, especially being the undrafted rookie that he is. He's got incredible athleticism. He's really powerful, and he does a lot of things really, really well. He's just got a lot of things to learn, and that's to be expected as a rookie left tackle. But overall, I think he did a really nice job for his first game.
Is Hugh Jackson the right man for the job, Joe?
I absolutely think he is. I think he's a tremendous head coach. I think he really hasn't been given a full deck up until this point. And I'm really excited to see what he does this year with the weapons that they signed in the offseason. And I think they're headed in the right direction right now. You saw the progress. They didn't get the win. Offensively, they didn't have what they needed yet. But I think they're definitely headed in the right direction.
And why isn't Baker Mayfield out there right now?
Well, I think because Tyrod gives them the best chance to win right now. And I think the best thing for Baker Mayfield is to sit on the bench and watch and learn. And every time Tyrod has a mistake or he misses a protection or a blitz or a throw, that's Baker Mayfield learning without being in the fire and losing confidence. Because a lot of times I think rookies, when they're pushed out there too soon, they think they know what they're doing, and all of a sudden the NFL game happens so quickly, and they lose their confidence because they don't believe in themselves anymore when they throw 3 or 4 picks in a game.
Joe Thomas here on the Rich Eisen Show. Let's flip to the other side. Were you surprised to hear offensive linemen talk about their running back who's not there because of a business decision, calling him out for that business decision in Pittsburgh, Joe?
Well, it's a little surprising anytime you hear NFL players, specifically teammates, calling each other out over a contract situation. Generally speaking, NFL players are going to have each other's backs, and they understand this is a very violent business. It takes a lot out of you from a physical standpoint, and it's important to try to get paid when you get the opportunity and when you become a free agent and to get your money. But in this situation, I think it's rare and unique because generally, it seems like the Steelers linemen think that Le'Veon Bell is being unreasonable in his contract demands, and that's why I think they started calling him out, because I think they want him to get paid, but at the same time, they want him to be reasonable so that they can get a deal done, and they think he's just being unreasonable.
Well, is it their place to even comment as to what's unreasonable or reasonable?
Well, I think there's an argument that says it's not their place to talk about another man's contract situation, but in this case, what he does has a big impact on how they do as a team and as an offensive line. The person that you're blocking for has a big impact on how well you play. So really, his beef with his contract and the organization is going to affect their contract and their money and their team. So really, I think they do have a place in saying something about Le'Veon Bell when he's, in their mind, being unreasonable.
And then when James Conner scored yesterday, Joe Thomas, and his celebration, obviously it's a huge moment for him. I mean, a personal story for James Conner, overcoming cancer and getting this opportunity and balling out as he did. That is remarkable. the celebration with him and the offensive line all around him was viewed as maybe a signal to Le'Veon Bell that we are all one here and you should be here with us. Did you take that out of it?
I think it's both. I think, one, obviously they're excited for a young man who overcome cancer and was playing really well, and he scored his first NFL touchdown. Everyone was excited for him. But at the same time, I think that was the clear message that the Steelers' offensive line especially is tired of the drama surrounding Le'Veon Bell, and they just want somebody to show up and go to work like they do every day.
I don't think he's showing, right, Joe? What do you think?
It doesn't seem like it. It seems like he's going to wait until the last possible moment to be able to get his credited year, and he'll show up at that moment. And I think he's just looking forward to free agency at the end of this season.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing, though, is that how do you, when he does show, because he's going to show, he's got to show at some point, that when he does show, I mean, will there be anybody looking at him wondering if he's all in, that he is, right, that he's... Yeah. Going to tap out of a game to make sure that he's not gassed. I mean, that's a good point. I think it's going to get uglier before it gets prettier because, truthfully, he's going to have to show up, like you mentioned. I mean, he needs to get his credited season to be able to get to free agency at the end of this season. But when he does show up, I don't think he's going to be invested. I don't think he's going to be all in. He's not going to want to take those hits. He's not going to want to lower that shoulder and deliver the boom like he's known for. And I think you might see one of these mysterious ankle injuries once he shows up, because a lot of times that's what the guys play is. They know they have to be there. They don't want to be there, but they're going to show up and do the bare minimum. And you're really not going to get the same Le'Veon Bell as you have in years past. Joe Thomas here on the Rich Eisen Show. We saw Khalil Mack show up, show out. Is he the best you've ever tried to block, Joe?
I'm not sure I'm going to say he's the best I ever tried to block, but he's definitely in that top five. He's a tremendous talent. I think he is the second best defensive player in pro football right now behind Aaron Donald. And clearly he is an unbelievable impact player for those Bears, not only in the passing game, but in the run game. He completely can shut down that side of the field. And there's some people in Oakland right now who are probably waking up this morning with a little seller's remorse.
Well, I think they were having it during the game. John Gruden was trending on Twitter last night, Joe, and the Raiders were 24 hours away from kicking off themselves, I mean, so who is the best that you've tried to block then? Who was in that group?
I'd say in my entire career, I think it was probably Dwight Freeney. I think his combination of his spin move inside, his bull rush, and his dip and speed move upfield were unmatched. Now, I think, by the time Khalil Mack's finished with his career, he may be able to claim the best pass rusher of my generation, but he's still young. And I think that's what's exciting for Bears fans is you get a guy in his prime. I mean, he's still got 2 or 3 years of improvement before he is the best that he is going to get. And that's pretty exciting to watch what he can already do and how he can already take over a game at this point in his career, knowing that he's only going to get better.
What'd you think of Rodgers' performance last night?
Don't you mean Jesus, the way he was resurrected from near death? I mean, people had him already on the IR, and he came back and completely took over that game. It was just totally amazing the way he can throw the ball and distribute it to all of his receivers and take the ball right down the field against all odds and win a game like that. It's just amazing. So
then help everybody out here. A couple minutes left here with Joe Thomas. Again, check out his Tomahawk show on the Uninterrupted platform with Andrew Hawkins. He's here, Joe, on the Rich Eisen Show. Help us all out for all the fans that see what something happens in week one and what goes on in locker rooms between week one and week two to make the overreaction Monday a little bit less intense for people. Walk me through the actual process of trying to get better in the NFL as well as you know it.
Well, I think the good teams in the NFL, they treat a win or a loss the exact same way on Monday. They're going to come in, they're going to get their shakeout, they're going to get a little bit of a workout, the sweat in, they're going to get a good meal, and then they're going to have their team meeting where they review the game. Those team meetings might go up to an hour where you're sitting there with everybody going over the goods and the bads from offense, defense, special teams. The coach is going to give you a 10,000-foot view of what happened. Then you break up offense and defense. You start talking specifically about how your unit performed, what you need to do to get better, what you did well, and then you break up into your groups and you review every single play again. You go through every play, every person gets graded. You find out exactly how you did, what you did well, what you need to improve, and you take that methodical approach so that when Wednesday shows up and you get back to practice, you've got your list of 3 or 4 things that you want to work on that you need to improve on from the week before. So it's a process. I think you have to treat every Monday the same way because you don't want to get too high and gloss over the little things when you're winning. And you also don't want to beat yourself up too much when you lose, because in the NFL, 2 or 3 plays are going to be the difference between losing and winning. And so you don't want to forget about the other 64, 65 plays during the game just because the outcome went one way or the other.
Ask him the poll question as we send him out the door, Chris.
All right, Joe, what was the most OMG moment from yesterday? Le'Veon Bell not showing up, giving up that $850,000 paycheck. Aaron Rodgers returns to lead the Packer comeback. Saints giving up 48 points at home to Fitzmagic. Browns not losing.
Well, being the great football Nostradamus that I am,
yes.
I said on my Tomahawk podcast just a few days ago that the Saints were going to win the Super Bowl and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were going to be the worst team in the NFL. So I would have to say that was the most OMG moment for me.
That was unbelievable. I mean, Fitzpatrick is just he's got don't talk about boom or bust. I mean, it's unbelievable. There's not a window he doesn't think he could fit it in, but he also showed how this offense can work. Right, Joe?
Well, I think it's interesting. You watch a guy like Ryan Fitzpatrick, and people leave him for dead, and then all of a sudden he comes back and he throws for 500 yards and leads a team that nobody really has a lot of respect for to victory. It's pretty amazing. He's pretty much just bought himself 3 more years in the NFL, no matter how many picks he throws from here on out.
That's true. That's true. So did you miss it yesterday? Did you miss the game yesterday, Joe?
You know, it's funny. That's the question everybody asked me this offseason, and going into this game, I hadn't had that moment where I was like, wow, I really miss it. Even watching Hard Knocks and seeing all my brothers out there for the Browns, I didn't really miss it. But then you turn it on in opening day, it just got something special. When you watch those players running out of that tunnel and that emotion is real for the first time, you see the fans there and the pageantry and the pomp and circumstance that surrounds opening day. And then you just think back to my 11 years in the NFL and the emotion that came over your body on opening day. It's just unlike anything else. And it was at that moment where I really felt like I missed it. But there was still that feeling in the back of my head that my body just is not willing and could not take any more pounding. So I did feel comfortable. Even though I really missed it, I felt comfortable that I made the right decision when I decided to retire.
So you're comfortable today, basically, is what you're saying.
What I'm saying is I got out of bed and I didn't need a walker. And so I felt really good about myself that I didn't play in a game yesterday.
Hey, Joe, love your pod, man. Congrats on it. Keep growing it. Keep growing.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
You got it. That's Joe. Let's chat again soon. That's Joe Thomas at Joe Thomas 73. Love his takes. Love his personality. Love everything.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.